So, hello and welcome back. So today is an x300 day, okay? So I have some good news. The x300, the red one, it passed the MOT. Yes, look at that. So now it has 12 months MOT. Now, every Jaguar x300, XJS, the ball joints on the front have rubbers on them and every single one's gone. And this one is exactly the same. Now, you can change just the rubber. Now, I've never successfully got the ball joints out of a Jag X300, an old one that is, ones that have been in a while, without damaging them. So even if the ball joint's good, I've never managed to get the joint out to change the rubber. So I don't bother anymore, to be honest with you. So what I've done is, I've been out and I've bought new ball joints. I've got the upper ball joints and the lower ball joints. So this is what I've got. Yes. Now these ones, I think are mid-range. They're not the top of the range ones, but they're not the bottom either. I mean, I didn't go for the... You can on the Rust-to-Roam car, I did put the cheapies on because it's just a banger rally car. But on this one, I was putting the better quality ones on. So first thing we need to do is get the wheel off and get the car jacked up. So I'm going to tell you, if you've ever done this before, I always wax oil everything on the car. Now, people say you shouldn't do that because it makes things hard to get off. Now, these people don't really know what we're talking about, I don't personally think. So this is my personal view. Get yourself an electric drill. And what I do is, before I even attempt to undo it, I just rub the electric drill on the end, like that. Yeah? And you can see there's some rust on here. So what I'll do with that is now I'll just give it a tap with a hammer, just to knock the flail bits off. But just generally, get your drill, rub it on the heads of the bolts to give yourself a good grip with the socket. So you can wax all this, it's just before you even think of undoing it, just make sure you clean off the bolts before you attempt to undo them, yeah? Because if you slip, you're just going to ground this head off. Now these bolts here are prone for snapping, especially this one I think it is. So you have to, maybe we'll have to put some heat on. Every single time I take these bolts out of any of these Jags, this happens. Every single time. I heat it up, do everything you're meant to, and every single time it is really soul destroying. So both of them have snapped off. So what I'm going to have to do is I've took the control arm. I think it's called a control arm, I don't know, but anyway I've took that off. And now I'm just going to put this in the vise, heat it up and try and get them out with a set of mole grips. Luckily I've got 3 spare bolts, so I can afford to break one more and then I'm knackered. Well, that was in there, that one. Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, that's out. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So just remember when you take them out, make sure you remember where your shims go. Yeah, this is really important. So then ones went that side. Look, there's 3 there. I think it's 2 that side, and there's 2 for that side. So like I say, what is that, 2? Yeah. So make sure you remember put your shims back how they come out. Okay. So now we're going to try and get this one off. Now this looks well, what can we say? Awful before we even start on it. Right, let's have a go. Well, actually, I just whacked a socket on it, it comes straight off, so that was a shock. I've just cleaned these off. Now I've got to take all 4 of these out. Yeah, these look a bit nasty as well, so let's see how we get on. First bolt done, snapped off. Great, so now I've got to take the whole lot off now. Yeah, and I've got no more bolts for here either, so I've got to have some made. Oh, we're not going to get this done today. Right, here we go. Finally. I don't know what miracle I've just had, but these are the original ones. 2 snapped off, and these are perfect. And these come out of a Land Rover suspension, or engine, I can't remember, but they are perfect thread to those. Look at length. How lucky was I? So there's your control arms back. I've just got to tighten it up here. There's a new joint. These, I'm lucky. I had 3 of these from a previous x300, and they're still good. So as long as on the other side I only, I can afford to break 1 and that's it. For brake 2 I'm knackered. So yeah, this is let's get the top arm back together again. So remember, put your shims back in, alright? Make sure you do it correct, how they come out. Well, that's all back in. The new type ones, look at that, screwing perfect. Perfect length, absolutely everything about. Yeah, so yeah, I'll just get them in. So, I've got a lot of it back together again. In fact, to be honest, it'll only take me about another, I don't know, half hour, put it back together again, get it finished. But unfortunately, I've just been rained off the job. The heavens just literally opened. We had one hell of a storm there. So, the ball joint's in. I've got to just take this off actually. I was just tightening up and then realised I haven't put the clip on that holds this here. So I've just got to do that. Plus I'm going to paint all this in under seal before I put it all fully back together again. But like I say, I've been rained off the job now. This sensor I need to connect back up because I decided to unplug it from inside the car. So I didn't have to damage anything because this bolt on the back's a bit rusted, to be honest, and I think I've knackered it up getting it off. So yeah, at least I can get it all back together again. So hopefully tomorrow, I'm probably going to let this all dry up tonight and then finish it off tomorrow. But yeah, at least we've found enough bolts to get it back together again. But this job has been an absolute 100% nightmare. You know, this makes Freddy Krueger look like a nice person. So I've had to make a new clip for the pipe because this one is rotted away. So I've made one like this. It's not expertly made, I'm not an expert or anything, but it should do the job. So let's get it on. And there we have the new clip. Right, I've put the wire back through here. Unfortunately I broke this one, getting it off. I broke the one on the other side as well, so Dad's going to repair that. I'm going to let him solder it. So let's get the caliper back on. And that's it back together again. So I've done the back of the disc, painted that just because it was quite rusted. So I have touched up the under seal under it. But yeah, wow, that turned out to be a complete nightmare. All I've got to do now is just what Dad's going to do is just going to solder that back together. It's just an earth wire. Just going to solder it because I'm not taking that off. I'll end up in another world of problems. I've got to reconnect the sensor, put that back together again, and that's this side done. And then we've got more excitement with the other side. So stay tuned for that one, won't you? Hopefully it's not as bad as this one. So this is the passenger side. So I've decided in the garage because it keeps raining outside. If it keeps raining, I'm never going to get it done. So, yeah, it looks really bad. Don't know if this will show up on camera very well. That's the rubber. I think it's past it, don't you? There's a big hole in the top. Now, I admit it's a bit awkward here at the minute. Can't really see it right now. Let me try and turn the light on. So you can see all the greases come out. Yeah. So I've also got to make another one of these clips because this is rotted off as well. So I've got to make another one of those. And this looks. Now I have to get one of these out. I've only got one spare bolt. And look how rusty in they are. So I'm going to heat this up until it's glowing. Yeah. But I've took the caliper and everything off first. So let's see how we get on. So I'm going to heat these up like crazy because they, well, they're actually like that. So what's good is with the electric drill on the end. And that's just to, you know, make it a bit easier to get the socket on. So when you're doing stuff like this, you do have to be a little aware of that. So it does catch fire. So be very careful. Try and get most of it off as you can. Make sure the flame is directed away from any electrical wiring. See what I mean? It's not far off, but you just got to be careful. So look at that. It's not one. So that's good now. We'll try and get past it now. So far this side's been a lot better. The only problem I've had so far is literally this bolt is on so tight. I've heated it, and then I put some pressure on it, and I must have had this, because it was so rusty, I must have had the slight wrong spanner because I spun it and knackered it up. But unfortunately the ball joint's spinning with it, so I'm just going to put the angle grinder on, just go straight across, knock the nut off and just pop it out, because it's the old one anyway. But yeah, the heat works, but you have to put quite a lot of heat on. So don't worry about the shock absorbers as well. I do know they're a bit, well, not great, are they? But I do have a brand new set on my other X300 that I do rust to roam with. And I was going to swap them over actually, but I haven't got round to it yet. But they won't be too bad to do, because there's only 2 bolts, and if that one's dodgy, at least it's only 1 bolt you've got to replace each side. So with this bolt, basically it's just spinning, and I thought, well, I'm not going to mess around with it because it's knackered anyway. So I just use the angle grinder, cut it straight across on one edge, use a bolster, hit it, look at that, straight off. Piece of cake. And I've still got the washer, because for some reason when you buy the new ones, I've noticed this before, you never get the washer. No idea why. That's now out. Oh, literally out. Nearly took my hand with it and near broke the sensor wire again. Oh dear. Right, let me sort that out. So the next job is to undo these 4. Now I snapped 2 on either side, so I thought this time, because this car, these are all original parts. This car's only done 82,000 miles from brand new. So the shock absorbers are genuine, originals. These are everything on it is original. So you've got like 23 years worth of corrosion under here. So like I say, nobody's really done much with it. So everything's a bit solid, shall we say. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to clean the bottom of this up, and then we're going to heat this up and take them off. But you can see the ball joints. So I knew this was like this for the MOT. Like I say, it's the only advisory the car I think had, apart from I've under-sealed it heavily, and that was it really. But yeah, so it's not bad really. For a 23-year-old, that's the only issue. They're just a bit of a pig to do. I mean, the ones in the XJS were bad, but this one's actually been the worst one I've done for corroded in. But all the other cars had replacement parts. These are all genuine original parts, so I think it's just 23 years worth of corrosion. It's got them all stuck in. So let me clean it up. So before you put heat on, always remove all the wax oil, just so you don't set fire to the car, and make sure the wires and things are out of the way so you don't make the job even bigger than it is. So you can see they're quite well, you know, they look like the rust has welded them in nearly, look. Now people say, like I say, earlier I said, people say you shouldn't underseal all these parts and all the suspension parts because they're harder to get off, but I mean, if somebody had undersealed it new, everything would come off a lot easier now, wouldn't it? Because it wouldn't have rotted as bad. So I always recommend you cover everything, but if you are going to take anything off and you're going to use heat and things, always clean the bolts off before you attempt to undo anything. That's what my advice of that is. But I think it's good to wax oil all these parts, because I mean in like another 5 years it's easier to get them off again because they're not rotted on as bad. Right, let's give it some heat. So with this, we're not bothered about damaging the ball joint because we've already cut it and it's knackered anyway, and we've got some new ones. I'm just going to warm it up. We're not going to go warm this up too much because the other side too snapped, but they weren't that bad to come out, if you know what I mean. So give me 5 minutes and I'll get this hot and then we'll have a go. Something I learned quite early on, if you've got a rusty bolt, find the correct socket size and just give it a gentle tap with the hammer so it's fully on, yeah? Because sometimes you just get a bit of rust build up on the edges, and if you haven't got a proper spanner, you end up just wringing all the edges off and then you make it 5 times worse. So I wouldn't normally use the air compressor to remove these because it can be a bit aggressive. Sometimes I find it easier just to put a bar on, but let's see if we can get them off with the bar. So there we have it. I managed to get them all out without snapping any. There's the ball joint, so you can see it's a bit warm at the minute because I've been. Oh dear, that is warm. Oh bloody hell! Bear with me. Let me use the screwdriver. So
Yeah, you can see the rubbers are gone. Now, like I say, with these, when they're so old, they're hard to get them out without damaging them. I've never successfully done it, because you can just buy this rubber piece, but there's so much effort to get them out and so much work. I always think, well, if you just put decent new ball joints in, you're going to get another probably about 100,000 miles out of them, 80,000 miles with no problems. I mean, you can change this rubber and then the ball joint's gone again in about another 10 years anyway. Because let's be honest, some of these, they're not genuine Jaguar, the new rubbers. They're sort of like some Chinese copy, which is the rubber just perishes after about 3 or 4 years. But yeah, like I say, well, that's out anyway, and this side has been a lot easier to do than the other side. So like I say, well, I haven't had to remove this arm because I didn't snap them. I haven't had to remove the track rod end from this side and disconnect the cable because of the fact that they didn't snap. Because like I say, the problem is if you do snap something, it turns into a huge job then. So like I say, at the moment, I'm just going to let that cool down and then we're going to start putting it back together again. So that's alright. So like I say, this job normally only takes about probably 4 hours, 3 hours. Doing it yourself at home, you know, using a normal jack and that. We're not a garage or anything. We haven't got all the professional tools. We've got quite a good selection of tools, but we're not a proper garage. So let's let it cool down, and I'll get the new parts back in. So on this Jag, all the shims come out this side. There's none on this side. So like I say, it's very important you put them back how they come out. That ball joint's in. Looks 5 times better already, doesn't it? So yeah, I've just got to tighten that one in, and then I'm going to have to make a new clip again. Alright, so I kept the washer. For some reason you never get them washers with the new ones, new ball joints, don't know why. But I'm going to have to make another one of them because it's rotted off this one as well. So yeah, like I say, I'll just get those tightened in and we'll start making a clip. So there's my template. So we've just got to cut it out now. So there's the clip I made. Should do the job. And that's the original one. It's flattened at the minute because I did it because I just draw around it. But yeah, you see, there's no point trying to bodge the old clip on because in about another 2 years you're going to go for the MOT. And he's going to say, "Many clips have fell off." So if you're going to do something, you might as well do it half right while you're here. So I'm just letting that dry a minute because it's still a little bit wet. And then I'm going to put the top ball joint in, and then I'm going to under seal everything again, how it was. And then we're going to put the caliper back on. We're going to paint this heat shield. So you did see me the other side, this was black. It's not, it's, no, you can see they're terribly, really rusted out bad. It's not wax soil, I actually used a black heat paint for the shield. But yeah, it's just in a tin, you know, just slop it on sort of thing, just to make it look a bit more decent. But yeah, we're not far finished now. It'll take me probably an hour now to finish off. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's the new ball joints. Much better. So now I've just got to put the wheel on. Take it out again. Whee! That side was so much easier to do than the other. But, yeah, good. So that's it from me. Like I say, that job can be easy or a nightmare. So the passenger side was actually easier because I managed to get all the bolts out without snapping anything. So it was half the time quicker. But if you do decide to do this job yourself, you have to sort of allow for these problems. It can go very smoothly or it'll be complete pain. Now the driver's side of that X300 was the worst one I've done so far, where everything pretty much snapped off, you know. So, but yeah, it's all back together again now. It's all good. So, thanks for watching. I tried to film as much as I can, but yesterday was a bit more awkward because everything kept breaking. I was then it kept throwing it down with rain all the time. You know, it sort of ended up with a problem. But I tried to film as much as I could. But yeah, like I say, thank you for watching. Hello to all my new subscribers, and I'll see you all very soon with a new video. So I do have a Rust to Rome update coming up. And I've got a Series 3 Jaguar update as well, actually. So stay tuned for them, and I'll see you soon.